What up?
Hey.
How are you?
Pretty fantastic.
I feel like I'm looking at you through prison bars.
You know what? It is. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Let me move this around.
Allie thought of this great idea of let's put these
Look
poles
to
in
this
between
spider's
us.
legs over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, so
Okay, you know what? Next
so
time,
how was your weekend?
not happening.
Yeah.
So anyhow.
Yeah, go like this.
But yeah.
Tilt up and pull down.
Is that better?
Not really.
Kind of feel my heartbeat.
And that's what happens when we listen to Allie.
So what have we been doing this week? What's been going on this week?
We had a couple. This is the first mono interview we've had in like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, because we've had guests on.
That's right.
We had the one and only
Paul Volpe. Yes, we did.
Mr. Arizona.
We had Dr. Holes.
Dr. Holes. That was good too, man.
He had a pretty significant story.
There was a little hesitancy in your eyes going, why are we having a doctor chiropractor in here? And then you started talking. It was like, matter of fact, that one you sent out to the entire team saying,
did. My daughters watched that one.
Yeah.
So
good dude.
Yep.
What have I been up to? This is my life right now.
Baseball.
And the bigger one that's yellow. Softball. You know this. Your daughter
I remember
played
those
softball.
days.
It is every day. Yesterday,
Good for you.
baseball game. Today, baseball practice. Softball practice. Tomorrow, softball game.
I know that life.
It's fun though, man. This is.
Yep. It's good stuff.
I
They
love
get
it.
competitive and
I love it. My daughter pitched half the game.
nice.
First time Saturday. Did good. Man, it was warm Saturday.
Yeah.
Girls started at 9 and by 11:30 they were cooking. So
Yep. I remember those days.
it's fun.
All the dust.
Dust and
Yep. Valley fever.
yeah, all the things that come in Arizona. What about you? What's new with you?
Oh goodness. Goodness, I just got back. Where the heck did I go?
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Via
Yep.
what stop?
I went through Denver.
Went through Denver.
Yep. So yeah, client appreciation party out there. Good stuff.
Do you want to talk about Denver and pulling a game off?
That
on
was
the
awesome.
Skin of their teeth.
That was awesome. So yes, they did.
We've got quite a few Raiders
It was
fans.
actually last minute, and you know what? Went down to the wire. 6 seconds left.
Doesn't
Kicked the
matter.
Field goal.
Doesn't
It was
matter.
a W.
Yep.
That's all I care. It's probably the last win they're going to have for the season, but
They got to win when they play Kansas City, right? That's the
yes,
only other one that
in
matters.
Kansas City.
It's the only one that matters.
Yep, I'll be there.
Yep.
Yep,
With who?
Dad. Oh, and you know who else? Mr. Carter Sigler.
He's coming?
Got his tickets along
No
with
kidding.
his dad, so we're going to meet up.
Good for him, man.
Yep.
We'll actually have Carter on the 1st.
Yes, we will.
That'd be awesome.
The Carter Sigler.
Yep.
You know what his nickname is?
The man, the myth, the legend. I don't know.
No, it was Player.
Oh yeah. Carter,
Yeah,
man.
we were strolling through Iowa, and and all of a sudden everybody's yelling, "Hey Carter! Hey Carter!" All these girls,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden he's like, Tom Heath was like, "Dude, what's up with that, dude?"
He's
He
he's
goes,
the man.
Girls just know me everywhere.
Yeah. Carter's
That's
the
how I
man.
get his nickname, Player.
Yep.
Yeah.
What else? Topics. We've been talking a ton about standards.
Yes, that's actually a good topic today.
We've been talking about standards. I was thinking about it too. Standards. We've talking about standards. Coaching baseball, softball. There's standards with your kids.
Yep.
Standards with your business.
Well, there's a lot of different standards. I think when you're talking about standards, you have to define it. Are you talking about your standards, team standards? Are you talking about minimum standards? You know?
And
that's where it starts.
Yeah, I think it all starts even a little before that. There's written standards and there's unspoken standards.
Yes.
Right?
Implied.
Or implied.
Yep.
Yep. I think that resonates a lot with your background in the military as well. There's a ton of standards that are written down, but there's probably a longer list of standards.
That's right. And most people
implied.
they'll sit there and the ones that are written down are ones that you can go back to somebody and actually have punitive action against or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it says right here, black and white, that you can or can't do this. You know, and I think the implied standards are the ones where people get most frustrated because it's that gray area. Yeah.
And probably most frustrated for people that are new to an organization.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and you know the unwritten rule in the military: if you're on time, you're late.
Well, meaning like,
you know, and
I'm sure you've been out for 7 years.
oh no, 11.
11 years. I think that you could, correct me if I'm wrong, you could go in to any rescue unit right now and probably still pick up on the standards that are not written down.
I think yes, because they're embedded.
Correct.
They're embedded in you, and they become your part of life.
Versus, you could take a full bird colonel that has never been on a rescue squadron and put him in there, and he may violate standards that are not written down.
Yep, and I think it grows. It differs from one location to the next,
Yep.
even though you have your core set of standards that are there. You know, and the thing is, like I say, it depends on whether it's minimum standards or whether it's going to be, standards that organization wants to have. And
So,
the higher those standards are that everybody, adheres to, the higher the productivity, overall everything is just at a higher level.
so let's try to talk about standards today and not be necessarily business specific, but standards that could be put in place in relationships, families, clubs, and business as well. So when we talk about minimum standards, what is your take on minimum standards? If you had to define it in a elevator
I think
speech.
minimum standards are just something that's really simple, basic, enough to get by, that will never be violated. And I made a post about that the other day, and Jason Abrams, he's a mega agent out in Detroit, actually, yeah. And he mentioned something about habits. Focus on habits, not the standards. And I say you have to have the standards first. And then those habits, yes, can come into play. Absolutely. And you can focus on those habits. But I think it's just to have ground rules on what you're playing. That I know that we have read this and kind of talked about this even to the team about home plate being 17 inches.
Yep. We've
Doesn't
talked
matter
about that
what.
analogy.
Yep. I mean, your kid right now, he's got a home plate that's 17 inches. As he moves up through Pee Wee, through college, through pros, if he goes that far, whatever it may be, it's still 17 inches. That's the standard.
It's funny.
That's the standard.
It's funny you talk about that. And I was talking to our daughter's coach about this. A guy named Steve Gregory's phenomenal coach for our daughter, and we were talking about this a little bit. And I had brought up is that for they're doing kid pitch right now. So this is the first season where the girls are pitching the entire time. Their strike zone, typically like in major league or college or whatever, your strike zone is somewhere around, depends on the umpire.
Boom, yep.
Depends on the
Here,
umpire,
here.
right?
Yep.
Top of your knees to right around your chest. And the width as well is non-negotiable.
Yep.
Right now, the umpires go, pretty much anything that's between your eyebrows and your
That can
shins.
get over the plate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my take on that, I was pushing back a little bit, going, watching the girls swing now, they're creating unhealthy habits swinging. They're swinging, they're doing the golf swing, trying to get the low
because it can be a
stuff.
strike, because it's
Correct.
way the heck up here.
They've got to swing at it because
Yep.
it's a strike.
That's interesting.
And they're taking big hacks at it along the top.
Well, and you know what? You relate to that, and you know what it does is, in my opinion, it goes right back to the participation trophy.
That we talked about before as well.
Oh, don't get me started.
It goes back, aim small, miss small.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you broaden those standards, you open yourself up to creating bad habits. Because I look at it now going, now hitting, when they go up to the next league, we have to unwind the stuff that they've been taught. Not even taught, but going, here's the standard that the league came up with.
We're getting tighter. Yeah. And then now you're going to have to go, I understand last year that was a strike, but it's not anymore.
Yeah.
I can see that being a bad habit.
Yeah. So how that applies to life or business or whatever is we don't change the standards based off the person.
Nope.
You've got to have the consistent standards.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, I had brought up, is that when you have standards, it allows you to take out emotional decisions.
That's where I was going. Yeah.
Because
it's not about the person, it's about the standards that they are not hitting.
Yeah. Anthony Azar told me that, I think it was week 1 or maybe even before he hired me, was, it's an easy conversation when you're talking to somebody and you have to let somebody go based off standards, because it's going, I love you. I love being in business with you. I love you and your family. But my standards don't, so we can no longer be in business together. And it goes back to it is, who's firing who?
That's right.
I'm not firing you.
The person's deselecting.
Yeah. You self-selected your way out based off of your outcome, and looking at your family and stuff too, right? Like you create standards with your girls and your son, and it's standards. Like it's.
But what is the you have these standards, but what happens? And this is the emotional part, because it's human nature. What happens when somebody doesn't adhere to those standards? And what are the consequences?
I think
that's the key. What are the consequences, and what accountability are you going to hold on it?
I think it's all determined based off of what happens as a result of not meeting those standards. You used to load nuclear weapons. If you lowered those standards and something went wrong, what was the end result?
Well, you're putting the whole nation in jeopardy.
Okay.
So
to me, that there's no gray area.
The standards are extremely high,
it's pass or
far
fail.
beyond those can even comprehend.
It's pass or fail. If it's something, your daughter's curfew is 10 o'clock and she comes home at 10:30, it may be like, what happens as a result of that? Violated.
It's usually a punitive action.
Yeah. But it may be, the first time would be, if this happens again, understand that, there's going to be these repercussions. And here's the repercussions is you can't go out for a week. She comes home the next day at 10:30. Now it's, here's your result. You chose this now. So it's a little bit different. I think of the repercussion is based off of whatever the consequence is.
Yeah, and I think that's a tough piece though for a lot of people. They don't want to be the bad person.
Yeah.
They don't want to be the one telling somebody, or they have a hard time doing it. Because
but is it though? Like
I got thick skin.
But it's not even thick skin. If you create a standard and somebody does not hit it, you're not. And I get it. Like you and I are cutting the same cloth this way. Is like, it's very black and white. Like it's. Sorry, like here was it. But it does get emotional when it becomes a very punitive,
because it's somebody that you truly care about.
Correct.
And you don't like being punitive in that manner.
And what we found, and we talk about it all the time, is it's not so much you are upset or heartbroken about having to get out of business or whatever. It's with that person, it's more because you want something so badly for somebody that somebody doesn't want for themselves.
And I think that when that happens, you're disappointed, but you're actually disappointed for them because they didn't.
What they're missing out on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, I just wish you understood what you're letting down here.
Yeah. Why do you think organizations, like I look at it going back from like churches, worked in churches for years, or volunteer organizations, or organizations that don't have to do with nuclear weapons. Why are people so hesitant with creating standards? So let me give you the backstory on this. Is worked with a majority of people that worked in nonprofits and churches and whatnot didn't have standards. And their reason being is, well, these people are volunteers. How can we put standards on someone that's a volunteer?
It's almost like it's a restriction.
Yeah, or they don't have the right to put standards on somebody because they're not paying them a salary.
Yeah.
What's your response to that?
I don't know. I think there's always standards in place. It's whether or not they know what they are or not. And if you let people just kind of do whatever they want to do, it's not organized. It's not. The results are going to be sporadic, and you're not going to get exactly what you want out of it. So
or lack of clarity around the vision.
Absolutely, and then they don't even know what they did.
Yeah. If they don't have clarity around vision, then
they don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
There is no plan.
So we leave next.
There's no course of action.
Yeah. We leave next month to go build a house in Mexico. We're actually paying to go. So it's like the opposite of volunteering.
Yep.
But there's standards of how to build the house, right? If we don't create and communicate the vision to the people that are going of this is for some of them, your eyes, you're building a shed that's got a roof and stucco around it. For us, we're going, this is somebody's forever home.
Yep. This
is their Taj Mahal.
Yep.
So that's why we want to do stuff with a standard. That's why we just don't look at something and go, good enough.
Just slap it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It's a tough one.
It is.
It's a tough one. I mean, I love standards. I do.
I love standards because it gives you a benchmark.
I think if they're clear and precise and you're able to convey that message clearly, and here's the thing, if not only that, but if they buy into it, or if they're the ones that create it, that's even better.
Yeah.
They create the standards, that's them. That's collective, and that's, and that I think goes a lot further than anything else.
Because then you're holding people accountable to the goals that they set,
that
the
they
standards
set and to each other.
Yeah.
But when if somebody's coming out and say, this is the way it's going to be, yada, 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 then it becomes, oh, that's what they want. Now I don't have the full buy-in.
Now I'm hitting Aaron's standards. Exactly. I'm not hitting my own.
Yeah. And keep in mind, everybody's standards are different. Everybody's are. So therefore, you may be sitting there going, okay, whatever. I don't even know why they're even talking about this because I'm far beyond that.
Yeah.
Others are just very nervous and, sweating it out because they don't know if they can meet the minimum standard.
I feel like what I like about standards so much is that, like, I want to know when I'm winning.
Yep.
But
what did we talk about yesterday? Bowling.
Yeah.
I am not going to bowl unless I know what the score is.
I'm not playing anything unless I know I can win.
Yep. That's like soccer. Remember?
Yes.
You have to keep scoring soccer, otherwise it's useless.
It's
1-0.
You want, and I want to be in business or in life with people that, I'm not saying be competitive in nature where you're a jerk, but people that want to win. Like, I don't want to show up.
That's because it makes you better.
Yeah.
You compete to kind of go higher.
Okay. Yeah. Here's a perfect example. Going back to Mexico, you better believe that when last time we were building and there was people down the street building, there was another team down there building. You better believe that every single day I was keeping tabs to see who's going to finish the house first.
Yeah.
Like I want to win.
We'll finish on Sunday, midday.
No, we'll finish like 8 a.m. Sunday.
Well,
this will be the fastest build ever.
Okay.
I
hope so.
I want to win.
There you go. We'll win.
What?
Who's going to win is a family. That's the cool part.
Yeah, but they're going to win because we built the house. They'll be in their house sooner than everybody else.
Yeah, they'll get them keys.
What do you strive for more? The feeling of winning or the feeling of not losing? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I
go more for I don't know. There's certain drivers, depending on what it is, but I'm more winning side.
Is there any worse feeling than losing?
No.
It sucks.
There's no such thing.
No.
Losing is not an option.
No, it sucks. I will kill myself.
And that's why I'll be quite candid. That's one of the pieces of sports I don't like that I'm not involved in.
Yeah.
I can scream as loud as I want. I can yell at the TV. I can throw stuff at it. I have no bias on what the score of the game is going to be.
I don't either. So I'm not.
Like, why do I get emotional? I don't.
There's nothing I can do about
stinks.
It. Yeah.
But I still have a fan base around.
Now, if I was on the field,
there you go. That's what I'm saying. That's different. I have an impact on whether we lose or we win or tie.
That's why. You've said it before. Is like I never want to be number one in like Keller Williams or real estate in general. I'm fine being number two. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to be number one for a second, but I feel like if I'm number one, I'm like, well, I'm gonna start a knitting company.
Yeah, because now you got this target on your back that's this big. And you got to stay there. It's harder to stay there.
I would love the victory of being number one, but like I know that what drives me is getting to
it. Yep. Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
And that's if you're already at number one, does it drive you to stay there more than it did to get there?
Yeah.
I think that was the question. Yeah. Kind of the way I correlate that question you asked.
Yeah. So if somebody is struggling, like they feel like they don't have standards in their organization or something like that, what are some applicable first steps to creating standards?
I think clarity.
Clarity around what?
What they're doing or not doing.
Okay.
They got to know what they're doing and figure out what they're doing right and wrong.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. Sit down. Take time for yourself. I I think that's a big one that most people don't do because our lives are so hectic. We don't slow down enough.
Another one you said is if you're in an organization where you've got, where you're not a dictator and you've got, you need your people and it's a very synergetic organization, is allowing those people to help come up with the standards.
Yes. Yep.
You know?
Yep. I don't think it has to fall on the shoulders of one person.
No.
Unless it's just you.
True. But you still create your own standards.
Yep.
Even if you're a one-man show. Yeah, standards allow you to put a benchmark on who you bring into your organization as well.
It attracts it or deters it.
Yep. Said that yesterday, is people that are highly talented are attracted towards standards.
Yep.
They will run towards standards.
Well, I think it's because it's clear. It goes back to that clarity again. It's clear what to expect and what they need to do.
Yeah.
And then they can see a proven result.
Yeah. It's like if I go, hey, we are going to build this house until it feels right.
I'm out.
Well, sweet, because having half a floor and half a roof is what feels good.
Yeah. Well, when you're doing it though, is the issue. When you're doing the build out, you know what the result's going to be.
Right now, I want to build a 2-story, 2,500 square home for these people. Mm-hmm. Halfway through day 2, I'm like, 100 square feet sounds good.
Indeed. Indeed. What do we have?
We got some current events.
Dine and Dash serial dater. Did you hear about that dude? He's in California.
I saw
he would go on dates with these ladies. I think it was like 10 plus. First dates.
Separately.
I hope so. And they would meet at a restaurant. They would eat dinner, and he would dash. Now, is that...
Wait.
I mean, I've got to laugh at it. I really do.
You forgot. You need a clarifying point. He would dash without them.
Yeah, without them and without paying the bill. So he'd leave them with the tab. A piece of me is like, well, hello. Don't meet at a restaurant, a high-end restaurant first. Why don't you just meet at a coffee shop? Buy the cup of coffee, you'll be done. You learn your lesson there. But anyhow. I don't know. I think that's cheesy, but it is funny.
My question, not necessarily to get him like off the hook for anything, but my question was like, did they go to like Nathan's Hot Dogs, or did they go?
No, they went to these high-end restaurants, like these steak joints, and and they were just, so it was like, and he'd order like 2 steaks, and then he would, hey, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. I got to make a phone call, and they would just leave. I mean, that's horrible. It's horrible.
I feel like you would have to do that in a big city. Because,
I hope so. Yes.
Because in
a small
Tucson,
town.
well, even Tucson, you're gonna run into them.
Yep.
You go to the mall and you're like,
hey,
oh,
yeah.
Dang.
What else? This
Elon,
one you brought. Yeah.
This one is very interesting to me. So you and I both have watched Joe Rogan podcast, and he's kind of like, he's the godfather of podcast. He is the highest ratings, everything else, and does awesome. So he gets Elon Musk to come on his podcast. The guy is worth like $6 billion or something like that. Something just absolutely astronomical. And Elon Musk, for those of you listening who don't know who Elon Musk is, go back under your rock. Owner of Tesla, SpaceX, started PayPal, sold that off, or maybe still owns it, I'm not sure. Anyways, Tesla is his biggest one. It's the most popular one right now. And he goes on Joe Rogan's show, and Tesla is building solar panels. They're doing
very innovative. Very.
Very. And building. Right. What was the last one? They're building tunnels underneath LA. They're boring tunnels. I didn't hear that. Yeah. So they're boring tunnels under LA to make underground freeways.
Okay. AKA subways.
No, you put your car on it. You put your car on it, and it takes you. It's crazy. So anyway, so he's on Joe Rogan podcast, and him and Joe Rogan, since the old marijuana, what did you call it?
The wacky weave.
Wacky weave.
Yeah.
The devil's cabbage.
There you go.
Is legal there. Elon Musk on TV partakes. smokes a doobie with old Joe Rogan, and do like a 2-hour podcast, and that's it. They're off. Next day, 2 executives quit from Tesla, and their stock drops 7%, and then I think it gets up to 9% drops over like a 24, 48-hour period because he's...
So do you think that was a mistake that he made? Or a statement that he made? Or was it just bad choice, good? It doesn't matter.
Here's my...
I mean, he did something legal, but...
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at that.
It's legal, but there's stigma around it around most of the United States.
Yep.
So...
And I bet you, and I don't know, I bet you the guys that quit...
We're against it.
We're older generation, too.
Probably. My take on it is I don't think Elon Musk gives a rip.
I totally agree.
He's always been outspoken about stuff and whatnot. Well,
here's the other thing too. Do you think it was his first time?
No.
Okay.
Like I get if he got on it and was like shooting heroin or something like that.
Started promoting it.
Yeah. And like all the memes that were coming out afterwards were like, yeah, kids, don't smoke marijuana. You might end up a $7 billionaire and send stuff. Oh, and it was either the U.S. Air Force or NASA, one of the two, was reevaluating pulling funding for because they use SpaceX as company to send spaceships. And my result is like, do you think Elon Musk is smoking a doobie and like wrenching on the rockets,
exactly,
putting stuff together?
Do you think that it comes across to his employees maybe that it's okay to do that?
Yeah,
and then therefore that would affect.
My big takeaway from this was. I think that Elon Musk is totally okay with the repercussions that happen. My big takeaway, and I talked to you about it when it happened, because this was like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, was always be careful about what you're doing in public or on social media, because perception is huge. Like count your cost. Elon Musk he's a smart guy. I don't think that he did it and didn't go, oh, this could have a bad impact. I don't think there's that. First of all, because Elon Musk is obviously a robot, or an alien, one of the two.
Yeah.
Like he just always be cognizant of what you're doing. There's people all over all the time that have been CEOs of companies or leaders, this or that said one thing, did one thing stupid, and got fired or lost it all. So just count your costs, but always be cognizant of the social eye that is constantly watching.
I'm with you.
Interesting.
Nope, I think it can burn you.
It can. Big time.
We had somebody ask, why are fixer-uppers intimidating?
Okay,
flipping
so
homes.
if you're going to flip a home.
That's an easy question.
If you're going to buy a home that needs work on it, you're going to invest money into it and then sell it.
And some people don't have the stomach to take a good chunk amount of money and put into it, so that's why it's intimidating.
Yeah,
they don't see the value or the risk. The risk is too high for them. That's all.
Yeah, or it's not your long-term play. Yep. I mean, what are you looking to make $25,000 now in a flip, or are you looking to invest into rental property and
Correct.
have residual income after you pay it off?
Well, here's the deal. I'm not a flipper. I don't flip homes, but
there's a lot of people that make
a lot of money doing that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that lose a lot of money doing that too. So, but
yeah, I think they could just be intimidated in the fact that they just don't know what they're doing. It's
the unknown.
It's unknown. Like tomorrow, I could go do a hard money loan, and get that loan and carry it, find a home, everything else. I just know that the money and time that I would invest in it, because of the other industry that we're in, it's a better return on investment to do it this way.
Yep, I agree.
So, yeah. I think that's it.
You got one other one there. Talking about Uber driver. Apparently an Uber driver, guy called an Uber driver. Uber driver kind of swerves up. Ends up the driver was apparently been drinking, so he had to drive himself home.
With the Uber driver in the car?
In the back seat or whatever the heck. That's classic. Then come to find out, it actually wasn't an Uber driver. Isn't that random?
Dude, I'm telling you.
Pick up a drunk person, take their car, drop yourself off, and I don't know if they let the individual drive home or what, but that's
Uber's
crazy.
getting scary. Like there's people like getting attacked now and robbed and like fake Uber drivers and all that.
Yeah. Have you ever? And I've done this. I've actually Uber driver coming up, walk up to the car.
Nope.
And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, not an Uber driver. Think about that.
Not gonna
it's almost like the person probably feels like they're getting carjacked.
Yeah.
You know? So just always got to ask. I do like the little symbols in the front. That way kind of.
Dude, that is a job that I could never do. The fact of driving a car and having people I don't know sit behind me.
And get sick?
No, I'm driving, so I'm good. I'm driving, and there's people I don't know sitting behind me where I can't see them. That's worst case scenario, right?
Yeah, that's a horror movie is what that is.
You and I strategically, you and I both hate sitting with our backs to the door at restaurants.
Yep.
So like we'll strategically find those ones. We have yet to sit side by side. We haven't gone that far yet. But having people get in my car and then sit behind me.
There you go.
That's a standard I will not
go to
at all. So what do we got coming up? We got Carter Sigler next week. Next week we have got
actually going. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Miss Kristen Cole.
Yes, we do. And we're going up there to Phoenix to interview her.
Yep.
Talking a little bit about expansion. We're also going to be talking to Mr. Kevin Carney. I talked to him this weekend. Cool. And we got a lunch meeting coming up to where figure out what he wants to talk about. He's pretty excited.
That's awesome.
Different topics there. So I may tag him in this podcast here.
Absolutely.
When I post it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else? Got one last thing.
What's one last thing?
There's also the 77,000 texts that were sent from an ex-girlfriend.
That was in Arizona.
Isn't that crazy?
Phoenix.
I think it was like 24 or 48 hour time period. I can't even send that many texts if I tried. Yeah. Did you see her mugshot? She was all crying.
Yeah.
She's distraught because she couldn't send one more text. My goodness, dude. That's actually scary.
Why did that dude not call the cops after number 400?
Well, I know why it's an ex. I do know that. That's obvious. As soon as you send that,
don't you think that crazy would have come out sooner though?
I don't know. I'd like to know the full story.
77.
We got to get him on a podcast.
I bet you do it.
That'd be good.
That'd
be interesting.
Yeah,
we got a couple people we're trying to get on a podcast, which would be pretty interesting.
Be crazy. Oh yeah,
we do.
Oh, you know who messaged me, and I totally did not tell you this yet. And
I'm sitting down. I'm okay. What we got?
Ready for this?
Yep.
Messaged me on or I messaged him. He had me on add me on friend on Facebook. Messaged him, messaged back and forth, and he goes, "Hey, I saw that you have a podcast, Mr. Tommy Sullivan Jr." Oh,
nice. Sounds good to me.
Talk about a dude that's his dad started Title Security here in town.
We could promote that.
Yeah, for sure.
Figure it out. That'd be good.
That was last week. He's actually in like Sicily or something.
Okay.
Right now.
So when he comes back from his European trip,
they just he just started a company that has to do with encrypting the transaction piece for real estate that has to combat all this cybersecurity stuff.
Oh wow!
So
that's good.
Sullivan family has done some amazing things. Some of the greatest people that we know in Tucson work for the Sullivan family.
Well, good. Let's get them home.
All right. Dude, check out my sock game today. I apologize.
Oh, that's weak sauce, dude. It. Those are Werkheiser socks.
Yeah,
those are like, not bad there.
That is it. That's all I got.
So, all right. Well, hey, till next week.
All right. Next week.
Later, guys.
Peace.
Later out. Bye.